It's my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of the Wright Experience. I'm Dr. William T. Wright, Jr., the founder and host of this show. We are at episode number 95 now tonight, and we have a repeat guest that I'm sure that you are going to enjoy. This gentleman was one of our early guests, and he has climbed the ranks now, and he is serving in a statewide role, impacting over 1 million children in his work every day. Our guest this evening is Dr. Jerry L. Oates. Dr. Jerry L. Oates has served as an educator for over 28 years. He is a native of Faison, North Carolina, located in Duplin County, and is a 1991 graduate of North Duplin High School. Dr. Oates attended the University of North Carolina at Wilmington as a North Carolina teaching fellow, and upon graduation, he returned to Duplin County and taught history at James Keenan High School. He returned to Wilmington in 1997 to teach history at John T. Hoggard High School. In 2000, he was appointed as a high school assistant principal at the age of 26 and earned his Master's of School Administration from UNCW and his doctorate in educational leadership from Fayetteville State University in North Carolina. Dr. Oates has served as a high school and middle school principal in New Hanover County Schools in North Carolina and was recognized as the 2016 Principal of the Year. That same year, he accepted a position as the Chief Human Resources Officer in Brunswick County Schools and became the Associate Superintendent 18 months later. In November of 2018, Dr. Oates was named the Superintendent of Brunswick County Schools in North Carolina. During his tenure as superintendent, he successfully led the district through the pandemic and was named the North Carolina Southeast Regional Superintendent of the Year. In February of 2023, he was appointed to his new role as Deputy State Superintendent of the Schools of North Carolina. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He serves on the board of directors for United Way and as the minister of music for his local church. He is married to Dr. Sonia Oates, and they have 3 children: Miles, who is a graduating senior at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, Florida; Tamaya, who is a freshman at Winston-Salem State University; and Jared, who will be attending the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, following in Dad's footsteps in the fall. Now, at this time, I'd like to reintroduce to the Wright Experience my fraternity brother, Dr. Jerry Oates. Welcome to the Wright Experience, my brother.
Good to see you again, my brother.
Now, did I get Tamaya's name right? Is that
you most certainly did?
Okay. I just want to make sure that I don't like messing up folks' names, so that's good. Dr. Oates, congratulations, first of all. I'm certainly very proud of you. I remember when I got the call and you were making the transition to the new role as Deputy State Superintendent. And those of us that are in the superintendent ranks, we always love when one of our own gets promoted. You know, somebody that has done the work gets promoted to that position. But if you will, following my congratulations, please tell us about the new role and the work that you're doing to serve the students and staff of the state of North Carolina.
Well, the role that I'm in as Deputy State Superintendent is really a leadership-based role. Upon going to the department, you learn that you have very capable and knowledgeable folks who have been doing the work for some time. You have your section chiefs, you have your senior directors and assistant directors and those type of folk that do the work on a day-to-day basis to ensure that all of the programs in our division are working and running as they should to serve the students of the state. My role is to provide the leadership for that division and those individuals that are leading those divisions at the executive level. That also will entail making sure the many facets of the division are meeting the goals of the superintendent, making sure the work's getting done to support those in the field in the respective districts, and basically kind of plowing the road of any obstacles that they may encounter to make sure that at the end of the day, we can get their work done and serve the students of the state.
And so how many months now has it been?
It's actually been 1 month. February 20th was the day I started. And so I celebrated a month anniversary last week.
Okay.
So it's been fast. I tell people it's like drinking from a fire hose at times, because there's so much information coming at you and getting acclimated to what the way the agency runs. It is definitely different than running a school district. And, you know, with every area that you go into, there's their own culture, there's their own lingo, there's their own ways of doing things. So I've taken a month or so, and I'm still learning to get acclimated to those types of things and the way that the business is done at the agency.
And so you came out of a very successful school superintendency, a very good, well-performing district, into that role. What are some of the similarities that you see already? You talked about some of the differences. Any similarities, or is it just a different mindset?
Well, it's a different mindset, but the similarities are that you are still working with a board. However, in this role, I'm not reporting to a board, whereas in the district superintendency, of course, we all reported to the board. I'm working with and alongside the state superintendent to make sure her vision for education in North Carolina is carried out, is successful. And working with those board members is reminiscent of the time when I was working with our local board, with the exception, again, we are working almost as a third leg to the stool, if you will, because you have the legislature, state board, and then you have us at the agency working together for all 1.5 million students of the state.
That's amazing. 1.5 million lives that the work that you do impacts every day. That is certainly to be commended, and we're proud of you. Dr. Oates, let's talk a little bit about, if we could shift gears for a moment. We see already a lack of a pipeline, if you will, for leadership. You know, every turn, it seems that we turn now, we're kind of starving for leaders in public school education because people are exercising options, to be honest with you. So what do we do to continue to attract strong leaders into the field of education? What are some things that you may see at the state level that would be impactful for us?
Well, I'm going to move even from the state level and go to the local levels, because this is something that I talked about as a district superintendent, and even before that, even as a principal. Okay. We have to, as educators, we have to make our profession attractive to other folks as they are thinking about career choices, particularly when you're looking at young folks. If you're looking at folks who are going to college, we have to make it attractive. Salary, of course, is one of the main things we have to focus on in order to attract the talent that we want to grow into these leadership roles. But at the state level, I know the legislature here in North Carolina are working right now, as a matter of fact, to do things that I think will benefit the leaders for years to come, looking at raising salaries and bringing back master's pay for teachers, and those things are on the table as we speak, to be discussed and hopefully pushed through to benefit more, to have more teachers and leaders come through the ranks of education. As you know, folks are leaving education for various reasons, but we have to make this profession attractive and be the ones to promote it. Absolutely. As opposed to the ones who only paint the negativity that is associated with it. It's just like a fraternity. It depends on how you are seen and perceived by those on campus will determine which fraternity you go to, or if you go to a fraternity at all. So we're trying to definitely encourage folks to join the fraternity of educators across the state.
And so that really, so what I hear you saying, and I've just had a conversation in my place about this the other day. We're in the business of marketing our profession. You know, we've got to make sure that we are marketing education to attract people to it, because right now it's not a popular profession. You know, if we go into our high schools, we hear folks talking about being sports managers and nurses and doctors and a little bit of everything except educators. And so we're going to have to find a way, I think, to market our profession better than we have in the past. So thank you for that insight. So Dr. Oates, let's talk a little bit about the future of education. What are some things that you see that are going to be critical to our success in public schools, particularly in the future?
Well, I think some of the things, in order to be successful and continue the vein of public education, you know, we've touched on it a little bit already. The perception has to change.
Yep.
And that's a top down, whether you're talking about the federal top, the state level top, or the district level top. We have to change the perception of public schools and make it attractive to people, because let's be honest, there are many options for parents to choose from when looking at educating their children. You know, we have the public schools, the charter schools, the private schools, the home schools. Folks can do pretty much whatever they want to do. But I am a firm believer that there's the best ticket to, and the greatest equalizer is public education, because it's more than just what you're learning in the books, but you're learning from other people. You're learning how to be social. You're learning about different cultures. These are the skills that we keep talking about, these soft or these durable skills that employers are looking for, that you have to be able to work beside someone and collaborate with someone. If you are by yourself all day long, you tend to lose those skills of socialization, which can hinder you on a job, in your job performance. So we have to look at that aspect of it as well and market that piece of why public education is so important. If not, you know, we will lose a lot of folks to these other options right now. But the biggest loss may be to those folks who are choosing the options and not being able to function as well as others who are not in public education.
Yeah, so critical that we stay on top of that, for sure. Dr. Oates, let's talk for a minute, if you will. Let's pretend for one minute that we have an opportunity to go around and video, if you will, kind of some pointers for future educators. So if we have the responsibility of marketing the work, what are some things in your career, or maybe in your moments of work, even in your new role, that you think are marketable, if you will, for educators that you're trying to attract?
I think one of the things we have to market, and I liken it to planting a garden.
Okay.
You know, when you are planting a garden, you plant the seed in suitable soil. But if you go back out to the garden the next morning, you're not going to see anything. That's the same way with education. As educational leaders, we plant the seed in children, and we fertilize them from the time that they are in kindergarten until they graduate. And it may not be until they are adults that we see the fruit of that seed that was produced, that's produced. So I think if you're going to video anything, video some products of public education and the profound impact that the public schools had on them, and how, if it were not for the public schools, they would not be able to be who they are today. So it's planting a seed and waiting for that to grow into the reward that we get. Because if you're looking for instant gratification, you won't get it not to the same degree as you will for waiting until that seed matures and bears fruit.
So really what I hear you saying is kind of an alumni spotlight kind of thing where we look at successes in the industry. And you certainly have struck a point with me. I've met some folks who tell me that they're Sumter School District graduates, for instance. So what a great idea.
And I mean, I think about my own situation. When I was named superintendent in Brunswick County and sworn in, I had my 11th and 12th grade teacher standing beside me.
Okay.
Because if it were not for her, I would not be there. She was there with my parents. So I wanted folks to understand that the profound impact that educators have on people, you may not see that immediately, but they sometimes can grow up to be school superintendents and, leaders in education, just as she was in the classroom.
And that, my brother, can transition into getting people re-excited and reignited about our profession. I love it. I love it. So let's go here for a minute. You've done the research just like I have, Dr. Oates. We are starving, if you will, for Black male representation in education. We have, when you do the numbers are in single digits in terms of Black males that are physically teaching in the classroom. What, if anything, can we do about that? What do you think needs to be done differently?
I was blessed to be a North Carolina teaching fellow back in '91. And what that meant was that I received a scholarship to go to UNCW specifically. And my entire college tuition was paid for 4 years. The other side of that was that I had to devote 4 years to teaching in the state of North Carolina. Although it went away for some time, it came back, but not in the full, robust form that it was back in the early 90s. I think we have to have some form of incentive for our Black males to go into it. Salary has to be a piece of it as well, overall, not just for Black males, of course, but just overall, because it would be difficult at best as a Black male to support a family on a beginning teacher's salary by just
amen
for just as it is. Now you folks down in South Carolina, y'all doing a little better than we are, your northern neighbors, but
just a little bit.
you know how it is.
Right.
Because I'll be honest and tell you, had it not been for being a musician on the weekends, that kind of helped with my income, I don't know if I may not have stayed in teaching. I enjoyed it, but I knew that there were things that I wanted out of life, and just having that one salary was not going to do it. So we need to look at that. We need to also, this goes for not only Black males, but just minority candidates in general. We have to have things in our districts or in our counties that attract minority folks to the area.
Right.
I live on the coast. When I came back to Wilmington, it was where I went to college. So one of the things that New Hanover County used to do was their slogan was "Teach at the beach." Well, for a vast majority of minorities, the beach is not something that is attractive. So there has to be other things that would entice minorities to come. If you're living in the Triad area, in Raleigh and Durham and Greensboro and Winston-Salem, where there's a culture that caters to minorities there, you would be more inclined to go. So we have to take a step back and look at what we have to offer, as opposed to saying, why aren't folks coming? Because there's a reason why.
Well, we have to offer. I love it. I love it. And that makes the focus inward, doesn't it? Where we look at our communities and the quality of life and
Right.
everything and so forth and so on. Thank you for that. In addition to, but you didn't leave out pay. I noticed you didn't leave out pay.
You never leave out pay.
That's all got to be a part of it as well. Dr. Oates, in the 21st century, we are faced. You might not have had this problem in Brunswick, but now that you're the state superintendent, you probably have this problem. We are faced with buildings all across the district, all across the nation, in fact, that are not 21st century learning. I just did some research in my own district. I've got buildings 50, 60, 70 years old, and we're trying to conduct 21st century learning in those buildings. And I know the state of North Carolina has a grant-funded program that districts can apply for to get new buildings. I was the fortunate recipient. Well, my district was the fortunate recipient of one of those. But talk about that, the schools of the future. What do we need to do differently to make sure that we've got adequate facilities, in your opinion?
It's interesting. You can go back 50, 60 years in society.
Right.
And there's nothing that looks the same, with the exception of schools.
Isn't that amazing? That's right.
Think about it. Our churches don't look the same. You go into some churches now, a lot of churches, they have screens, you have audio systems and all of these types of things. Your TVs are inches thin.
Right. And
they're hanging on the walls, but your cars are different. Schools have remained the same. So we have to move our facilities into an era, as you said, that is good for 21st century learning. It may be a situation, and we're fortunate here in North Carolina that we do have the grant program that will allow some of the poor districts that need them based on need-based grants to get the funding to make these improvements in their schools. But as far as what they look like, we have to be much more forward-thinking than we are now. Mm-hmm. Kids come to us as digital natives.
Right.
But the ones that are building and designing schools are not. So we have to really rely on the folks that are at the end of the receiving end of the instruction. Let sometimes our students have a say. Let our teachers, our younger teachers, our beginning teachers who are digital natives and understand how to reach this new generation of students that may not, the old way may not work for them. So by doing that, there's buy-in on both sides. We're listening to the needs of students and teachers, and we're taking their input and putting it into the way that we build facilities for our next generation of students that are coming through. So they would look totally different than what they look today. Because you can go, I'm sure you can go in some schools in Sumter, and you're still going to see desks and rows. You're going to see, we've moved from chalkboards to whiteboards to digital projectors, all this kind of stuff. We've got all of that, but the actual facility itself needs to look different than it does. And we also have to incorporate safety features because we're living in a different time.
Yes, sir.
In all of our facilities. So we have to make sure that is forefront as well.
Interestingly enough, I was in a building today, Dr. Oates, that some portions of it are 79 years old.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But the people are working hard. We've got the bells and whistles where we can get them, but it's just amazing. We're going to have to do better by our. I keep talking to folks about we got to get serious about investing in education and educators. We're going to have to do both,
right?
In my opinion. Dr. Oates, I've exhausted the questions that I have for you. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience at this point?
I will just share that my 28 plus years of service to the state of North Carolina as an educator have been and continue to be fun.
Good.
I've loved it. There's not a day that I dread or have dreaded getting out of the bed, going to the office and working on behalf of students in this state. And just because I'm getting closer to 30 years, I'm not tired yet.
That's beautiful. Hey, look, we need more of that, brother, for sure.
That's true.
We need more of that because this profession certainly can be very, very, very rewarding. And thank you for your service. And as I say, we are certainly immensely proud of you and the work that you're doing. If you'll hold on for me for just a minute, we'll come back and close out the show. On the Wright Experience, as we move into the month of April, we do still have a few show openings. However, we've got some amazing guests continuing to appear on this show in the month of April and May. We're booking for both months right now, and we're looking forward to a robust summer as well. This show is designed, I hope that you're enjoying it, for you to learn a little bit more about what real leadership is. We have some guests coming forth very soon that are non-education leaders, as well as some more educational leaders. As people continue to move about this business, we're also dedicated to having them come back and share their new work with us, just as you heard tonight. I'd like for you to do me a favor. Please take the opportunity to let someone know about the work that we're doing. We would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube page. It is simply titled under my name. You can go and click on YouTube. You can put in Dr. William Wright Jr. and my page will come up. I would love for you to click like, comment, subscribe, do all of the above so that we can know that you're out there listening to us. This forum is also available via Facebook Live on 2 different platforms. We're continuing to grow our brand and trying to get better every day. And we are thankful to those of you that choose to be a part of the Wright Experience. Dr. Oates, my brother, once again, certainly proud of you and the work that you're doing. And we're certainly looking forward to the continued success. 28 years and you ain't tired yet. We're certainly grateful for that. And to the Wright Experience audience, thank you and good evening.